to call to order the Village of Hainesville Planning and Zoning Commission. Public hearing for a special use permit to allow outdoor seating and a drive-through for a new Dunkin' Donuts located at 83 West Belvedere Road in B1 Commercial Business District at 6:34 on July 24th, 2018. Please stand and join me in the pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Planning and Zoning Board Commissioners Jerry Daly.
Here.
George Duberstein.
Here.
Wally Crease is absent. Hein. Here. Daranoski.
Here.
Georgianne Duberstein. Here. And Jack Chanel is absent.
Need a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Commissioners Jerry Daly.
Aye.
George Duberstein.
Aye.
Crease. Oops, sorry. Hein. Aye. Daranoski.
Aye.
And Georgianne Duberstein. Aye. Motion carried.
When you are ready, if you can review the notice requirements.
Okay, the notice was published on July 2nd in the Daily Herald. Certified mail letters, the letters were mailed certified. On June 27th, 5 cards were mailed and 4 were received back. And the public hearing sign was posted on July 12th. All the requirements have been met.
Thank you. Administration of oath to all who will testify.
So anybody that is going to speak needs to stand up and take the oath, please. Stand up and raise your right hand. I do swear or affirm to testify truthfully before the Planning and Zoning Commission of the Village of Hainesville during the hearing of a special use permit. Thank you.
Okay. Petitioner testimony. Suresh, you and your representative are on. Please step up to the microphone. Feel free to pull it out of the stand.
And let me give you, are both of you speaking?
I will primarily be speaking, and then if there's some additional comments, we'll...
Okay, I'm going to give you 2 microphones, and
That way if you get angry, you throw it at each other.
We good?
and for the record, could you please introduce yourself for the audience and for the record?
Here's the second.
Please.
Yeah.
Just a point of information, John, is the camera on?
Yes.
Okay.
You were very fancy. The new one has a good one. I don't know why it's not.
Do to get that screen up.
It's connected. It's not showing you your signal coming out through the computer.
So Larry's right on that. have to send them a bill?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go, folks. Introductions.
Okay. Hi, my name is Eric Carlson. I'm the architect with ECA Architects and Planners out of Geneva. Thank you for your time tonight. I also have with me Suraj Patel, who is the franchisee, and Jessica Porter, who is the construction manager for Dunkin' Brands in this area.
Suresh, excuse me. Are we planning on moving to that door?
Oops. Let me, yeah, we'll just scrap that one.
I mean, I have some local knowledge.
The commute would be a little bit.
Right, yeah.
That's a long delivery.
It is a long,
It's a long drive.
okay, sorry about that. Right off the bat, started off bad. We're, as you know, we were here before, about a little over a year ago, with a similar project. Not a whole lot has changed. The reason we're back here is Dunkin' Brands has gone through some recent branding changes. They redesigned the interior of the store. They brought in some new equipment. They've changed the elevations of the building right about the time when Suresh was getting ready to start construction. So instead of kind of building a new but having the old style already, he wanted to try to get the updated style, and that's really what we're here to talk about today, is some of those changes to the site plan, changes to the elevation, and we'll kind of jump through that. I've got some preliminary pictures which are pretty general. I'm going to rush through those really quick because we've already discussed those, but in case we need to double back to them, I've got them included in this slideshow here. Our site is the little red. One of these have a point around it by any chance? Let's see this thing here. Is this a point? Turning on. Here.
Clicker may not work for your laptop.
All right, that's fine. It's the little red thing there, you through West Belvedere Road. It's the circle site there. Maybe just tap that.
Yeah.
If I can pull this in. Just some aerial views of the site. Obviously, again, there's a site which is currently an asphalt circle. Oh, just, yeah. Again, this is very good. Point off.
Yeah.
Okay, this is kind of looking easterly. Our site is right down here.
Would you go back?
I'm sorry?
Would you go back so we can see
Yes.
the elevation?
There you go.
Okay, all right, here we go. So there we go. Here's our site here, and this is obviously west, westerly direction, easterly north side, so it's 90 over. 7-Eleven gas station is here. Kind of mark there. Okay, again, this is looking the other way. That 7-Eleven is right over here, and then this is kind of moving through. This is Hainesville Road, Village Hall right up here. This is a street view of our site, which is right here. Machine works back there, and multi-tenants, I believe, is the building over there. Again, this is further down. Here's the building that was adjacent to the site. Here's a retail strip center down the road a little bit.
Eric, can you speak more into the mic, please?
I'm sorry?
Can you speak more into the mic?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. This is the 7-Eleven. Oh, there we go. Now it's really loud. that is more or less right across the street from the site. This is west of the site. Our site is right beyond here. And again, this is down across the street, but slightly further east. So one of the discussions, just kind of keep in mind here, is in referencing back to the comments, was we want to be sympathetic to the comments or the comment regarding the style of prairie rustic, something I forgot the term off the top of my head. But I wanted to kind of show some of the buildings around there. There's small characteristics of different things, and there's kind of a lot of different styles in the general area. And what I would argue is that while the new style might not fit those characteristics specifically, bringing a high quality design to that area with some high quality materials would be an asset to this thoroughfare there. So what we had previously come and was previously approved was this building here. And you'll see, I mean, generally the building is similar size and everything. It's just the style has changed a little bit. Site plans, again, what was previously approved was a single drive-through on the back side of the building with a bypass lane.
Can you point that out with your laser?
Yeah.
Just so we can.
Yeah. Here's bypass lane through here, drive-through lane, pickup window, and this is that front. The tower element was right here on the corner, and the outdoor seating here, right here on the east side. Okay. The new site plan. I'm sorry, it's a little bit lighter here for some reason. One of the things that Duncan is focusing on is the mobile pickup, which is a faster pre-order online process where somebody on their mobile device orders their food. They drive through that middle lane right here, which is the mobile pickup lane, and they kind of bypass the people who are at the window ordering that are taking a little bit longer. So when they loop around this lane here, and when they loop around, here's the menu board right here. So these people are ordering, and the mobile lane is looping around them, kind of cutting in line, so to speak, and picking up their order quick because it's already ordered, already ready, and in a bin. So they have, I'm not sure if it recognizes the phone as it gets by that notifies people that their order's coming. I think it's actually how that process works.
Just tell them when you use food and do.
Oh, okay. All right, so they just tell them.
By name.
Okay. All right. So they when they pull up to the window, they tell them who they are, or it's already ready. So it's helped speed up the general time on the drive-through lane, and then it still maintains the bypass lane. So there's kind of 3 lanes coming in rather than the 2 lanes which was previously there.
Excuse me, could you show us where you're going out?
Straight ahead.
Yeah, straight ahead onto center here. So generally the same. It's just adding that mobile lane there.
Okay.
And then the building moved back from the road, and that was to work with some grade issues that we had with adding that other lane. So the building moved back, so it's further away from 120, and then kind of still pushes out. So we can jump back real quick. I'll show you the difference again. Maybe the reference would be this circle here in relation to that. Hopefully I picked that up in this previous view. So again, right here you'll see that the front of the building is generally in line with that circle in the previous plan, where it's just moved back a little bit. So that other one was kind of right here where that curve line is, and now it's back about 10 or 15 feet.
Those pre-ordered packages prepaid as well, so that people can just pick it up and go?
Yes, you pay on your phone when you place the order. I use it all the time.
Is that what necessitates the second window?
The second window is again another one of those things that helps speed up any delays, because if they were, sometimes the only hang up with is with the Dunkin' drive-through is a more complicated order, or sandwiches that take a little bit of time. So that's kind of like that pull-up lane that you see at other drive-through restaurants. So instead of having somebody have to run outside and give somebody the food, they pull up to that second window. When the order is ready, they open the window and hand it to them.
Okay.
So again, it's another thing to work on, constantly working on the efficiency and speed of that drive-through. And again, the seating on the east side, they're very similar to what we had previously.
Correct me if I'm wrong, one of the things we had talked about before when we approved the original design was the signage. The signage, it had the stacked,
The monument sign.
yeah, but it had the stacked stone around it. Now obviously with this design, that would make a whole heck of a lot of sense. So has there been, I don't see any changes.
Are you talking about the exterior on the building?
The exterior sign on the,
Or by 120?
by 120. The sign by 120, did it have a stacked stone?
The previous one, yes, it was on a
Previous
stacked
day.
stone base that matched the building, and then a more rectangular sign.
Mhm.
I didn't have it here, but in the packet that you have was is the new style of the monument sign. It was on the page that showed the rendered elevations.
Yeah, but it's just black and white, it's just a black and white.
Oh, you don't have
image.
the
It doesn't
color
really
version?
give like materials or
Okay.
anything like that.
I can pull it up here separately.
I'm just curious, because it wouldn't make sense with this
Correct.
design to have the stacked stone the way it was.
Right. We can jump back to that if we need to. I'll kind of continue on. And again, this is just overlaying that existing, the new proposed site plan over the site, so you can get it in relation to where that asphalt circle is now. Landscape plan generally is going to be consistent with what we had approved before. We've got a fair amount of landscaping out up front to give it a nice street view from 120. Building's got nice foundation landscaping all the way around it, around the drive-through lane. Around the drive-through lane and the transformer. So it's a fairly nicely landscaped site that complies with the ordinances that the village has.
Excuse me.
Yes.
For the landscaping, do you plan to have some things around the building that will be green all year rather than flowers that will die and then there will be nothing there for the winter?
Yeah, they're intermixed within the overall concept is some full year greenery. I
And
don't know.
then this one doesn't have the double drive-through, but it would have,
Yeah, you know what? It's the
is that the one?
wrong landscape plan.
But essentially, your landscape plan is stayed the same?
Yeah, I actually have this up here. I can jump over to it.
Dave, did you review the landscape plan? Okay. If you have any comments, feel free.
I'm looking at it right now.
There.
There we go. Sorry about that. So the building did shift over further to the west, so we've got a little bit more landscaping on this side, which is the center drive side. Probably a little bit more favorable anyway. So it looks like some of the landscaping that's on this east side was relocated to over here on Center Drive. And the landscaping across the front still pretty much remains the same. The detention area, we've previously was towards the back is now in the front along this parking area here. But otherwise, we still have some foundation landscaping along the building and then again along the back here.
Can you explain what drove the relocation of the detention closer to 120?
Nick, will you use the microphone, please?
Sorry. The relocation of the detention area closer to 120, is there a reason for that?
It was, I'm going to speak for the engineer, so I'm going to speak to the best that I know from that. So with moving the building back to work with the grading, we ate up some of that backyard space where we had the detention before. So that just got relocated towards the front there, which is really the lower side of the lot as well. So it was a little bit easier to drain up to the front than it was. We were kind of forcing a little bit in the back. It was working, but it was a little bit more forced than it is up here.
I recall, was it also reduced the amount of dirt that they had to haul away,
Right.
reducing costs?
Just wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
Where on that map is 120?
Top,
The top?
very top beyond the three
Right
guys.
about here is where that curve. There you go. You can see that there. So there's quite a bit of green space between 120 and the parking lot. Almost 60 feet from this curb line to this curb line here. A reference of 60 feet is the width of this parking lot is 60 feet. So you're probably a little bit more than that out front. Down to the new design. So this is, so the neat thing about this is this new design is something that Duncan is just rolling out. It's not even fully rolled out. So, you know, Hainesville does have the opportunity here to be the first, or one of the first Chicagoland suburbs to have this new Duncan, or the new image of Duncan. It's called the Next Gen image. And it's kind of more of a retro design. The whole concept is to be more mobile friendly, to be a faster service and kind of hit the millennial style and kind of be a fresh look. So that's what they've gone for on this new design. There's more glass. It's kind of more open and airy than what the former one was. They've got more high-tech materials, Nichiha cement board panels, which is kind of a more a hip product and design. There's a black glazed brick, which again is kind of a modern color and modern style to that, which is this tower here, and then there's some on that back drive-through side too, which I'll show you here in a second. And then, you know, more Nichiha cement board panels for some architectural features. Again, on the top, their signage isn't quite as, it's a little bit more hip with the DD and not the Dunkin' Donuts. It's got the Dunkin' on one side, but they're kind of focusing on this branding that they've been working on for many, many years in that DD. Of course, they've got their orange metal band across the front. It's not quite as big as what they've had in the past. This projects out from that face only about a foot, so it's just kind of a little bit more of an accent piece, where if you remember before, they had a fairly robust orange band. Oops. Kind of this orange band element that surrounded those. So it's kind of a little bit slightly more subtle with the orange than it has been in the past. They've got that kind of a little bit more modern looking, they call it the switch as opposed to the tower, which is that sign area on there. So it's kind of this, definitely a little bit more retro than what they've had before. It kind of goes with that fast-paced type mentality that they're capitalizing on. This,
Excuse me, could you explain what the material is? It looks like it's kind of a rough hewn look. It's not smooth, right?
there's a slight texture to that. It's a, like I said, it's a cement board panel, so it's got a little bit of texture to it. Trying to liken it to something. Jessica, do you have what would you liken it to?
She needs to speak into it.
Is it on? It is on.
Yeah.
I would say the amount of texture in it is similar to, you've seen I don't want to liken it to vinyl siding because it's not, but it has that imprint of the textured wood molded into it. You have a sample, do you?
I have a sample of the brown tone, which is a cedar, kind of a textured look
This is
panel.
The tan.
That's the tan portions of that, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah, you can just let me send that down so people can see it. The grays are a little bit smoother than that, but they do have a little bit of texture.
So
And
it's got a fake gray.
yeah. This, and here's that gray, I'm sorry, black, kind of a dark charcoal gray brick in these elements here. So there's a decent amount of variation to the colors and
And the texture on that black, is it much like this?
the
Example?
brick texture. Oh, shoot,
It's a brick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's.
Typical brick texture.
Brick as in concrete block?
No,
Clay.
I have a picture of this. I'll show you.
Brick means a lot of different things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and clay brick.
I have it here on that.
Okay.
Yeah,
Where exactly on
I've got
the
it.
diagram
That's not the
is that brick?
Where do you see it black?
This is a brown version. It's a black brick, but that's the texture on it. It's it's this area right here.
So actually, it isn't, it's more that brick color, right?
No.
No,
That was the wrong color.
that was the texture down to
It's
the
black.
color brick.
That's for the tan part. This part.
All right, that's for the gray part. That's the.
Could you use your pointer to show me where this stuff is?
All the gray, George. All the
No,
gray
no,
is
no,
that.
no, no,
All
that's
the
the-
gray is that.
Oh, that's not bad.
The black is an actual brick, so it would be black with a black pointing.
And clay
Ah,
brick
there we go.
and cement board.
Yeah, because the pictures that we have on
And
the
it would
piece
be
of
a gray
paper
brownie.
are a little
There would
different
be a
than
light
the
gray
shade
brownie in that
of what's in
section
that.
right there.
Yes.
Pointing toward.
Yes. Yeah.
So that's, okay, so it's not a solid black, it's all that brick.
Yeah, it's a brick. It's a thin brick. It's a lighter weight brick, but it's
Well, yeah.
actual physical brick. Yes.
That's kind of.
So the gray that we see there is going to be that.
Yes.
Yeah. This piece right here.
Oh, the tan.
Yeah, the tan.
The tan is going to be that.
The tan is going to be that, right?
Then what's the gray?
And then yeah. No, so the gray here is a little bit more of a smoother texture, probably like a concrete sidewalk-ish type texture. It's just got a little bit of a grain to it, but it's not as prominent as that wood grain.
Is it
And
quartz?
the wood grain is the orange, is going to be the orange part?
Yeah, these pieces here, this one, and then those other elements on the sides are.
And are we looking at the front?
This is the front, so this is what 120 would see, and this side here is center would see. So you come in the parking lot here, you loop around the drive-through here, and you swing around the back, you pick up your food, and you exit back out of here onto center. Yeah. And that's the back, so as you come out, there's going to be the 2 lanes. You don't see that 3rd lane kind of swinging in, but that first window here is the primary pickup window. This is that secondary pickup window for anybody who has to wait.
And where will the third thing be?
I'm sorry?
The one for those that are pre-ordered?
Oh, they swing by and grab from this window here.
Oh, at the front?
It's the same pickup window, correct? Yeah.
And you're going to have chairs and tables out in that area that's fenced off?
Correct. Yeah, standard chairs, tables with umbrellas.
Just out of curiosity, if that first window is the main window where everybody in line picks up, how are the pre-orders going to get it? Would they have to cut in line or something?
Kind of, yeah. If you jump back.
It's like the 2 lanes at the McDonald's ones. We have 2 lanes where you can order at McDonald's on 120 and 45.
And they
Where
merge
does
it
the
together. So, yeah.
Rollins and Hainesville, and it just merges.
Similar to that, the difference is there's not 2 menu boards.
They're not,
Where
right,
McDonald's
not
has 2
board.
menu boards, we don't have the second menu board, we just have the drive-through
Right,
lane.
right.
So the mobile person would come in this lane here, and then see this where they kind of start cutting over here. They'll cut in right in there as somebody's ordering. They'll cut in to do that, or somebody will have to let them in, and they'll cut in and go through that pickup lane. So that's, yeah, I guess that's about all I had is for the initial presentations, obviously.
You have a picture of the sign?
Yeah, because, and I have a question about that, because you did point out that they went through all this effort to change the entire design of the building, yet the sign is essentially the old design. So there's been no update to the signage because it still has the cup of coffee, it still has the full Dunkin' Donuts. It just seems strange that we go through all that effort to have a brand new building design, but yet the signage essentially stays the same.
That's the canopy sign.
Once you have success.
The other black around the building, on the other side, is that going to be the same black brick that's between the 2 windows,
Sure.
drive-up windows? All
No,
the black will be the same brick?
Describe the materials.
Okay.
That's what it's going to look like.
So this is the.
We don't have that out here.
It should be on your elevation sheet, A
Oh, I got
51 or 50.
Down this.
So this sign is, it's a smooth painted metal. The DD and the Duncan are illuminated internally. It's all flat face. So the only illuminated pieces are the lettering, but the rest of it is a solid painted gray cabinet.
So the DD and the word Dunkin' and the word drive-through is lit?
Yes, the lighting is inside, but it's the only part that is not opaque, so the light can come through those letters.
And the posts are just metal posts? The mounting?
Yeah, internally, metal posts, 2 metal posts down into the foundation, and then this kind of wraps.
No planter?
Yeah, what's going to be surrounding the sign?
Just landscaping around the base. It's not, unlike the other one where it was in a brick base, this is all one metal
background color for the DD and Duncan is?
It's okay, it's just a red.
It's a gray, the light gray or dark gray, I'm sorry.
Medium gray?
Okay, so it's darker than what's on the building.
And the DD is
It's not in the neighborhood of what's on the building or a little darker.
and the DD is gonna be in orange or something?
I think we have that in pink.
In pink? And the rest of the sign of the Duncan and
It's all pink and orange.
okay.
You can look for a color image of it if you want to see exactly which pieces are pink and orange, but it's pink and orange.
And the bottom half is that same gray.
Yes.
What are the hours gonna be?
5 a.m. to 8 p.m.
Say again,
5 a.m. to 8 p.m.
to 8 p.m.?
Yes.
Will the lights stay on all the time even when you're closed? The that sign?
We have the options. We do have the options. Yes.
All right, let's focus here for a minute. Anything else for your presentation? I mean, you'll get more questions here shortly, but I want to give you the opportunity to say what you'd like to say.
As I say, I think there was one question that somebody was asking me regarding the drainage. One of the people out here. So I'll just talk to that real quickly. So the site drainage, there's again a detention that's up here, so some of it drains to that. Otherwise, most of the site is going to sheet drain over to center, or we pick up along here into detention. There's very little bit that wraps around. There's a low ditch back here, so this back part of the site will wrap around there a little bit. The majority is going.
I said you'll have to be careful of your drainage going west. That site right next to Collision Solutions is lower than you are.
Yeah.
And if they're going to eat a lot of water because of this site, they're not going to be very happy.
Yeah.
Neither will we.
No, we're not. Obviously, our engineering department will review that as well, so we will not provide any worse conditions for that.
All right, let's.
Could I add
Yeah.
to that? Sure. My name is Jessica Portzer. I work for Duncan Brands. I'm also a registered architect. I'm not with the design team at Duncan. I'm the construction manager, one of the construction managers in the Chicago area here. I just wanted to add, I think Eric did an awesome job presenting everything here. Stole a little bit of what I was going to say, but he is absolutely correct. We don't have very many of these. We've got 14 open to date. It's a big change for us, and we're really excited about this new building design. Some of the things on the inside that Eric talked about was contributing to increased throughput, order accuracy, the on-the-go ordering, which is all wonderful to help the customer, and it's also going to help Suresh with his business as well. So they're all really positive changes, and the changes on the outside of the building are paired with that to help our customer understand that something's different for us here. So this is our new corporate standard building as well. We're very proud of the design. I just thank you for the opportunity to speak, and want you to please consider allowing us to do this new design here in Hainesville.
All right, thank you very much. Board, questions, comments, concerns? Your turn.
When do you propose that this should be finished?
Muted me. Okay, there we go. So pending outcome here, we've got modifications to the drawings that we need to do. We would anticipate being back in for permit within probably 8 weeks. I think we're kind of looking at what's your projected start for construction? As soon as possible. We'd like to start this year if we can.
About 6 months ago?
Preferably, right? Yeah, no, if we can get in the ground before winter hits with that foundation, then that's the goal. So we're going to be rushing on our side to get everything submitted in a timely manner so that we can try to make that date.
So this, in the spring.
Hopefully a spring opening, yeah, the builds are 4 to 6 months typically. Maybe with the new store, there's a little bit of learning curve going to be involved, so I'd probably say we're going to be closer to that 6-month period. A little stretch once the 4 for sure. You know, full through winter, and hopefully the crack of spring we're opening. Hopefully we don't have to wait until spring to start construction, because that would have quite a delay.
Call from 630-98072.
Questions, comments?
I assume you're gonna have some lighting in the parking lot. Are they gonna be LED lights?
Yes. Yeah. I can't remember off the top of my head. Is there a village standard pole that we have to? Okay, so yeah. I can pull up that civil plan. Oh, yeah, the lights are right here. So you got lighting here, here, here. All these black circles and squares are lights. So that would be all LED lights. Everything that they're going to be doing on the inside, outside is all going to be high efficiency LED. One of the new things with this model too, the branding is they used to have a program called ED Green, which was high efficiency furnaces, LEDs, and some other step ups to make it more energy efficient. This next gen design incorporates all of those things into it automatically, so it's going to be very efficient, low energy source.
Do you have any idea what the global housing, the LEDs will look like?
We didn't change from what we had last time. I'd have to do a little digging for that.
I think they're fairly flat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so they're low profile, like.
They were nice.
Nick, did you get have we seen a photometric presentation at all? No. Okay.
No, that wasn't in the material that we're sent.
Essentially, what we'll be looking for there is that the light doesn't go beyond the property. And there was a question earlier that I want to reiterate, is what time, you're open until what time at night?
8 p.m.
How much lighting would remain on?
Generally, we leave the inside of the building lights, and then you look at the inside. Generally, we leave the inside of the building lights on, digital menu boards that are inside of the building on.
Exterior lights?
Exterior lights, I like to leave the, I guess they can call it the pylon sign.
I'm sorry?
The pylon sign on, and then not the,
Not the park.
pole,
not the
parks,
park.
not the park lights.
Okay.
So just the building lights.
Thank you. Other comments? Concerns, design?
Actually, I think they need to say that.
One thing I know, one of the things I want to see before we hold our special meeting on August 7th, or if the zoning commission does approve this design tonight, will be detailed the color rendering of your sign.
Okay.
And also include landscaping around it.
Yeah.
Because it is a major step away from the other design, and I understand why you're changing, but I wanted to make certain that it looks good.
I guess it's difficult to really tell from these pictures, but looking at that one sample of wood-like product that you showed, that particular sample is somewhat in conformance with the kind of look we're looking for on the comprehensive plan, but I don't know. It's hard to say what that's really going to look like.
Nick, do you have any comments? Just use the microphone. Have at it.
So a couple of things, I think, for clarification, a couple of people have brought these up as well. We would recommend that you provide a photometric plan, just so we have an understanding of what the light is doing, how it's emitting. Just to confirm, and I know actually Eric said this, but I just want to make sure we're clear, there's no desire to potentially convert the mobile pickup to a future kiosk station, correct? You would be able to add in what would now effectively be like a second drive to it.
Yeah, Not unless that's something that Duncan wants to do way down the road, but there's no plans for that now. That mobile is a really big time saver for them, so I don't see any deviation from that. Electrically, when you do a drive-through, you have loops that are buried in the concrete to let the store know that there's a vehicle there and timing and such, so obviously there would not be anything in that mobile lane for that.
Okay. And then, is it a retention pond or a detention pond? Is there water, or would it only take on water when there's water present from a rain?
I believe it is a dry pond.
Okay.
What was the answer?
Dry pond.
Dry,
Thank
meaning
you.
it doesn't hold water.
No fishing.
No, no koi fish.
And then I agree with the request that there be, for the monument sign, just a 3D model, something that shows texture and color. And then, and maybe I would even say this for the building. I saw a packet that you tweeted out. If you could just provide photos, maybe even specifically calling out and pointing to the colors that are in the model. It's just hard to visualize some of the, if it's brick, if it's black brick or gray brick, just to help people better visualize what you're recommending.
If they have samples, it would be better.
Yeah, that would be great. So
If you have other locations, do you have pictures of the other locations?
that is my next question.
We're kind of looking for that right now.
Yeah, I was
We
gonna
can
say,
certainly find something for you.
if you could too, of those 14 locations, if any of them are in the region, I think just giving us some of the addresses, if there's a way that we could just go and see, that would be helpful.
Yeah, the 14 are all more scattered towards their other states. There is none in Illinois, which is kind of the exciting. It's kind of the race to get the first one in, really.
So are you gonna fly us out?
Yeah.
Field trip.
But I think that would be helpful if you could just provide those addresses. And then I think that was it. I do feel like I want to stress the importance of providing photos of the materials. If you can't provide the materials themselves for samples, just photos of them pointing specifically to the recommended texture, just because it is, like you said, it's very modern. So I think that would help people better visualize what you're proposing.
It's also possible maybe with the addresses that we could Google map it so that we can see it that way too.
Yeah, that's a great idea. We'll see if we'll check some out and see if they're updated. Yeah. I do have a sample of the gray coming, it just didn't get here in time. So I have brick, I have some of these things, so we can bring those, certainly bring those. And even leave them here for you guys to look at.
George, I didn't mean to cut you off. I thought maybe it might be addressing your concern. I agree that I don't see much representation of our comprehensive plan in this building. And I don't know how to address that.
I assume this is corporate driven, and this is, I assume, correct me if I'm wrong, that if you do other buildings wherever, it's going to be in this kind of model, right?
Yeah, this is their new prototypical building. Yeah, so this is what they're, obviously there's a big science to that as far as the franchise model and the duplication and the same aesthetics and all of that. And there's lots of studies on sales and how familiarity helps increase sales and all of that. So there's, this is what all of the new ones are.
Well, I understand the corporate approach to this and any others that will in the future. How much flexibility does corporate give you as far as what the materials will actually look like on the outside?
Because as we know from the first time through this, we managed to change some colors, some texture, to get a building that was more appealing to this commission.
Yeah.
More in line with what we say in our comprehensive plan,
Yeah.
I realize there have to be some compromises here.
Yeah.
And I also realize that we have other buildings that don't anywhere near approximate what we want in the comprehensive plan, and that goes on for many years.
So the question is, what sort of compromise do you have? What sort of flexibility? I mean, it's a corporate question, I understand.
Yeah.
What do you got?
is there a particular area, material, or something that doesn't resonate with the board that we can address specifically?
Well, I guess it would help, and some of the questions were already raised, but tonight, I guess, to see what the actual materials would look like, because you really can't tell from that rendering on the board there. That
Because the black there looks like black flat paint. You showed us a picture of the brick that was helpful.
Yeah, I mean,
The presentation looks to be without texture, yet you've told us that there is some texture to it.
I mean, that one sample you gave us was useful, and it helped me with my apprehension, but I don't know how the rest of the building would look. That's all I'm saying.
So I think what Eric is pulling up now is the Nichiha. Are you pulling up the Nichiha
No,
website?
I'm just trying to zoom in a little bit so
Okay.
you get a little bit more of the texture on this, but it's still not going to be great imaging, which you can at least
I
see.
mean, I'm not really trying to give you a hard time, but we have this comprehensive plan, and if we don't stick to it, why even bother having it?
Yeah.
Somebody give and take on the last model included more brick,
Yeah.
included the tower, included some wood-like material.
Right.
To add more you used the term country rustic, was that it?
Yeah, that's what was in.
And I'm not looking to change your whole design. Pardon?
It's historic, rustic, very character.
Right, there you go, yeah, thank you. Yeah, and that's a little bit of the challenge, obviously, with this being this is their new prototype. There hasn't necessarily been a lot of deviations from that. So as far as specific approvals or some of the other deviations, I don't know how much flexibility there is to that. We haven't pushed the envelope too much yet.
Are you saying that these 14 that you referred to are on the new prototype?
All
Yeah,
that way?
of this.
Are they identical?
They're not exactly 100% identical. There's a little bit of variation. As we rolled out the prototype, we made some adjustments to materials. So I'm thinking of one that is all over the news. We can certainly pull up. It looks very similar, but it's technically a couple different materials on there. So I don't know that that would be a relevant example. But yeah, it essentially looks like this.
Is there some opportunity to have a stone-like look when we were looking at the previous thing? The tower part looked like stone.
Can you go to the street view?
Yeah.
What would it do, and I'm just speaking for myself, or the members of the commission can say what they feel, the upper elevation where the word Duncan is, that band of grade, what would it do to your design if that was a wood-like material? I'm not an architect nor am I an artist. Possibly even a different color.
I just want to, under the DD, that material there is a wood-like material. That is the Nichiha in a cedar. I know this is small, but if anyone would like to see it, I might know.
Here's the area I'm thinking about. I'm offering up here.
There.
And John just pulled up a picture of one of your new ones where?
Quincy.
Quincy.
Yeah.
And that's
Quincy was a retrofit of an existing building,
Yeah.
but it has some of the same features, yes.
That's the
Where it looks more like
So
site.
if you actually literally Google Dunkin' Donuts new store design, it'll pull up the press room of the URL on the Dunkin' Donuts website, so that you can probably put it up there.
Is there a Wi-Fi
So that
that
way
can
you
tie
can
into
see.
there?
Well, yes, that's what we're saying.
Quincy is almost identical materials to this, but they're technically not exactly. The Quincy, Massachusetts example is almost identical in materials to this, but not exactly. We're using a Trespa panel for the material that looks like wood on Quincy, whereas here it's an Ichiha, but it's still a artificial simulation of wood.
That's why I'm using the word wood block.
Yes.
Yeah, but the wood is where the DD is and where the Duncan is, not just on that panel, on the main level, that orange slab.
Well, keep in mind that this is not gonna be, obviously there's difference, because there's a store attached to this one, and things like that, so the design is gonna
No,
be
I'm
exactly.
saying that
I just did Dunkin' Donuts new store design, right to Google, and it popped right up.
Yes, it's more or less identical with the exception that it's an Ichiha name brand product versus a Trespa wood. Otherwise, it's going to look like that.
But we would like to have
More wood.
So I believe, so the recommendations that we provided were mix. One is that the materials reflect the recommendations of the comprehensive plan. So more rustic materials, be it brick of traditional brick color, and then wood of traditional wood color. I think those are the two things that maybe we're starting to touch on, are that the materials just look more like traditional materials. So I know where you're showing brick, it being a dark gray or a bright orange, it's not what's provided or recommended in the comprehensive plan. So I think that's what some of the members are identifying. I think if we could just address that issue, you know,
Would the commission accept or prefer that the area at top be more wood-like? I'm just trying to get an idea so we can advise them
It would be possible.
to look more wood-like.
Yeah, if possible.
If possible.
You know,
Dina?
I'm fine with what they're proposing.
Okay, John? Just so we don't get tied up in this all night long. Would you prefer, would you accept more wood-like in that area? Kind of like the way it is. Georgiana?
It would be nice if we could have woodland, but, you know, this thing has been dragging on so long.
Whatever, whatever.
I like the new design.
All right, we have 2 and 2. And then there's me.
I think the more modern we make this, the more modern businesses are going to become attracted to the area.
Well, talk into your mind, so everybody.
I think the more modern we let Dunkin' Donuts be now, the more likelihood we're going to be seen as more flexible, and the more likelihood we're also going to be seen as a much more vibrant, modern area. Being Lake County's oldest village is great and all, but we don't, all our buildings don't have to look like
Speaking for
Especially when it's
jazz,
a corporate building. Different if it's a strip mall, that we can propose a little more of what they wanted, you know, what we want. This is a corporate building.
just to remind you that Jack's comments were that he would rather have it meet the comprehensive plan or not at all.
And Wally's were, he didn't care.
Okay, just,
So it's
Nick,
the
Nick,
time.
any last thoughts?
I mean, it just, again, I'll add in that if you decide to go the route of a more modern building, you are sort of deviating from what you recommend in your comprehensive plan. So I know that's part of the discussion that we're having right now, but keep that in mind that if another corporate user comes in, that's precedent.
I think that the reason that we're feeling more comfortable with this design is because that whole side of the street has been developed before we ever had this comprehensive plan that was put in place in 2010. And that's why on the other side where we're looking at the Firestone and other things that would go in from 120 north, we would hope would be more in keeping with our comprehensive plan.
All right, in the spirit of compromise, and in moving this along before we allow the public to have their share, since we're pretty well split amongst the board members, I would offer for consideration that some adjustment to that top band to more wood-like, if possible. I'd like you to look at that, and then if you can bring samples of potential things to our special board meeting, I think we'll have a deal.
I think we could
Acceptable?
certainly do that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Acceptable?
Look at some options.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so that's where we stand on that. Now, public comments. Anyone in the public care to comment on the Dunkin' Donuts? Mr. Frank?
Hi,
Welcome.
Thank you, board. My name is Robert Frank Real Estate, and I represent Mr. Hudson, the building next door. I don't know if I
You're
can
plenty loud.
Just say, I did project, I just wanted to ask a few questions, and I'm not, yes, I wanted to ask a few questions. First off, the stormwater, I think you kind of addressed the stormwater. Is the bulk of the stormwater going to be flowing west to the detention pond by the railroad tracks and just west of the body shop?
Not west, but the detention spot on is on the north edge of this building, along 120.
I know their detention is, but the overflow of that detention, is that going to flow west? Or is that going to go into the storm drain tiles that are to the east along the front of the 45 West Belvedere building? Just want to know where the water's going.
Yeah.
I don't have that answer.
Gotcha.
So the outlet is where this arrow is here. So the outlet will go at this elevation here, 794. This grade here is 795, 794, 793, 792. So the water will kind of run down into this way, and then right over through here, there's a basin that will catch it. I don't know if you can see in the
I
dark
see.
here. Okay. So basically, you're going to flow outside of that detention area, down right through here into that catch basin.
And at that point, I believe it will continue west, I believe. I think the mayor's aware we had a trouble with Metra flooding the Center Drive area was having some flooding issues due to Metra. It took years to get Metra to meet with us, and they finally did. But after the Firestone situation, we just want to make sure that water is not going to be coming onto Center Drive on 45 West Belvedere, which has been an issue in the past. The other question was, will Center Drive be repaved as a result of this? Because it's a little rough right now.
There's two parts to that question. If during construction the road is beat up such that it is, what word would I choose? Less passable than it currently is for the customers in back and for entry to the Hudson building, Dunkin' Donuts will correct any pavement, any construction caused pavement problems. We will, the village will, in the course of our regular paving program, look to have that Center Drive resurfaced in the near future.
Great, that's great. Next question on that, we have had,
But that's only as far back.
if it's needed, I understand. You're not, believe me, I know you're not going to go past the,
Yeah, we're not going to replace
no,
the
I fully understand that totally. And then the other question is on through traffic, we have had some people cut through on the other entrance on the east side of Mr. Hudson's building. So I just don't know how, I'm hoping that there'll be a direction sign as people pull out of.
Part of the plan is left turn only.
Thank you. That's helpful. And then the other question is not only to drag this out, but will the water line extension be extended down Center Drive? Will there be a fire hydrant maybe at the south east corner of the Dunkin' Donuts property? I just didn't know if, because you know the other buildings are all on well on Center Drive.
I haven't seen a review from the fire department on that, whether or not that's required, Bob. We will ask the fire inspector to take a look at that and give an answer to you.
Great, that's fantastic. That's the only questions I've got. I think this is a fantastic project.
We want to see this happen. I think it enhances the value of all the surrounding properties. I think it enhances the image of Hainesville as well. It's a lot better than the 10 years ago we had a dental clinic that was going to go there in the village. Didn't want to do the deal at that time, so we couldn't do anything on it. But no, thank you for this consideration. Thank you for letting me take the time.
We hope that you'll keep us in mind for all your future clients.
Any other questions, sir? Yes. If you could grab the mic, could you pass the microphone, please? And
Yes, my question is, that being Route 120 at the top, so my question is there going to be a designated lane for cars to turn into that street there?
a turn lane off 120?
Yeah.
That would be a IDOT question, because that road doesn't belong to the village.
Okay.
So we can't demand it.
Okay.
So I think the cleanest answer would be no.
Okay. Because the cars coming out of there, the second window, I assume is the pickup window. Is that correct? And then everybody, the drive-through comes in and pays in the first window. Those that prepaid go on to the pickup window. Is that correct?
No, actually, that first window is the pickup for both the mobile and the menu board orders. The second window is for customers that are going to have a longer wait time, maybe they're having a sandwich or something like that.
Okay. Not a problem.
Sir, clear your name.
Ken Eaton, 249 Cranberry.
Thank you.
I have a question about this mobile thing. Do they have that in the other 14 new properties? And how is that working out? Because I can't imagine early in the morning that people are going to be so accommodating to let other people just scoot on through.
Amber, I hate to do this, but we're public questions right now. We've got one more chance.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh.
Any other questions from the public? Sir?
Okay,
And just for the record, tell us who you are. I know who you are.
I'm Raul. I'm the neighbor right behind you. So
Especially granted.
especially Maui granted. My question is, how deep are you going to dig it? Because right now the lot is upper to my building, so and I had already leaking problems, so I don't want any more than that. So I kind of want to know if you're going to dig it and that lot, or you're just going to go on right on top of that mound.
There's going to be quite a bit of haul off because it is high. So that was part of the reason for shifting it back, is it was over 200 trucks of haul off. So pushing it back to help minimize that, because that's expensive to haul off and store or get rid of. So the whole site kind of is going to come down, I think almost 2 feet, at least where that building is, and then we're kind of sloping down as we move around the backside of the building, we're sloping down about 6%, which isn't significant compared to, it's almost 15% now if you were to just take that and slope it down. So it'll come down a fair amount.
Will it be at the same level of your building? Probably not.
Right, not that much.
Stand back.
One more thing, I don't know more. A lot of people in this room know my building provides electricity, water, and everything to that whole building. My concern is if somebody broke any pipe, or because my well provide water to the old buildings over there. So I'm just a little concerned about if anybody broke a pipe and just leak my well water all the time, something like that. I'm not.
They're going to have water, a hookup to the village water. So they won't be touching your well at all.
Oh, okay.
Does that answer your question, Raul?
Yes, kind of, yeah, but my thing is that when they dig, I don't want any damage that
Okay.
the lines was over there before to provide water to their building. That's the only thing that to me, I mean, I'm good with that.
When this is be good for you to know, Tom. There's a couple areas out there where his water lines and well exist, and Fine Line, the truck company behind, just in a construction on 120, they have a private electrical line that was cut during the 120 construction recently. So when your crews come out here, I think it would be important to communicate with both companies because they know where the line is. They're unmarked, and Julie may not find them. So you need to talk to the owners of the two companies right behind you before you start digging.
We can put a note to that on the civil drawings to help point that out, so that's a good note. Especially if you know, Julie does great, but they're not perfect, so if you guys know exactly where they are, that's great. I did want to look at that a little bit further to show you exactly what's happening there. I'm going to jump up here to explain it. So here's the, so what these lines represent are the grade lines. So there is some relocation of dirt. So there's going to be a hill kind of back here that separates the two properties. So for example, our building is at an elevation of 697.5. The top of that berm is 802. So roughly 5 feet, 4.5 feet. So it's going to gradually slope down, and you see these lines right here. That's going to be graded so that as it comes down the hill on your side, it's going to be picked up in these swales on this side. So we can control that away from your building, where now it's probably not controlled. When this gets developed, while you'll have that hill, that water will get moved around that hill and drain around the site into the storm sewers.
Thank you, Eric, and I apologize for calling you Tom. Must have been your brother. All right. Closing comments from either petitioner or board members.
Well, now that I can ask my question, have they found that it's working out well to have this convergence of the mobile pre-ordered customers in with the ones that are ordering right then and there?
So of the 14 stores across the US that are open right now, not all of them have this additional lane, this bypass for the on-the-go. It's really dependent on how much space we have on site to do it. I haven't heard any negative feedback about how it's been working in terms of the merging. We've been able to learn a lot about the dual lane scenario actually from some of our competitors. It was mentioned earlier, McDonald's has a dual lane drive-through today. It's used differently than we're using it here, but similarly, customers merge back together before meeting at the window. Our customers will merge back together before meeting at the window, just the on-the-go person has saved a lot of time.
So as long as the customers understand how it works, I guess it doesn't really matter to me, but as long as it's working, that's working. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just one comment. I have concerns about the comprehensive plan notwithstanding. I am elated that you're considering coming to Hainesville, and we look forward to a profitable release.
I just hope that before my daughter had grown up completely, we would have this. Okay.
Before 53.
Yeah, no. All right. From the commission then, based upon on your sheet, the findings of fact that you have before you, can you make a recommendation to accept or reject the special use permit? I've just been tweaked to go through each one. They are to be, will the proposed development be harmonious with and in accordance with the general objectives of the comprehensive plan and zoning ordinance? Consensus? Yes. Mostly.
Everybody speak up.
Yeah, mostly.
Well, the special use permit is mentioned to make us a vote.
As a consensus from the board, and then a vote.
Okay, a yes or no, then sir, Richard Jan.
Well, is there a way that we can word it so that it reflects what we discussed? That
We'll add conditions at the end, but we have to make a decision about these now.
Oh,
So number 1, yes or no?
yes.
John?
Yes.
Yes for me.
Yes.
George?
Technically, no,
That's fine. Two choices, so we have a no. Number 2, be designed, constructed, operated, and maintained so as to be harmonious with the existing or intended character of the general vicinity. Start at the other end. George?
but, all right.
That's a yes. Ina?
Yes.
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 3, not change the essential character of the general vicinity. Georgianne?
Yes.
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 4, not be hazardous or disturbing to existing or future neighborhood uses. George?
Yeah.
Yes.
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 5, not cause substantial injury to the value of other property in the neighborhood in which it is located. Georgianne?
Yes.
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 Okay, so now, based on those findings, then, there should be a motion put forward to recommend the proposal, and based on what I've heard, with the following conditions, and please correct me or add to any that you think were discussed. 1, that the developer provide a photometric plan. 2, that the developer provide a color rendering and 3D model of the monument sign and the landscaping around that sign. 3, that the developer provide material samples for the exterior materials that will be used. And 4, that the top band material be more wood-like in appearance.
Was there something about the sign?
I said that.
Yeah.
Okay, the sign.
Okay. Can we have that as a motion?
So moved.
Second.
John seconded. Roll call.
Commissioner George Duberstein,
Aye.
Hein,
Aye.
Jaroski,
Aye.
Trustee Georgianne Duberstein.
Aye.
And
Aye.
thank you. Motion carried.
So, in essence, what we just did, ladies and gentlemen, is approve the special use, approve the recommendation to the board of the drive-through and outdoor seating with the conditions we have scheduled. It will be soon posted in August 7th meeting
6:30.
at 6:30 for the board to act on this recommendation. Any questions?
Can I ask for a clarification, which may impact that?
You may.
The wood-like texture, are you looking for a different color too, or is it more about the texture?
Thoughts, Nick?
So, again, we've been bouncing back and forth. The original request was for a wood-like material, and I do think maybe explore both of the wood-like material by texture and wood-like material by color.
Okay. If you can get that to us before the meeting, I can disseminate it to the board so they'll have a better feel and we won't have to spend a long time discussing it that night.
Perfect.
All right?
Yep.
Okay, let's see. We've got that. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Aye.
Hein,
Aye.
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 thank you.
Adjourn, 7:54.